I do need to clarify something before we get into the episode. Last year, everyone was calling out for the punishment of Matt. He was negative $320 in the hole, an absolute disgrace to the TWI League. So, we are going to punish Matt this week by ignoring him the entire time. So, you're not going to hear him peep out of us talking back to Matt or anything like that. There's going to be some awkward silences. I know it's going to be a little bit awkward for you to listen, but it's his punishment, man. It's his punishment. We have to do it.
Dude, Eric. Is he alive? What's up, Eric?
It ain't over till the fat lady sings. Better late than never.
We welcome you to the TWI. I'm your host, Dyke, along with an unreal crew. Starting at the bottom, we got Eric P. Above him, we got David Big D3 Youngs. Then we go to Jared, and then Big Bet Barter on the top. We have an interesting episode today. We got round 3 of the Australian Open. We got some great tennis headlines. How the boys doing this week?
It's a great week to be a tennis fan. I mean, coming off of a morning where we had legend Andy Murray and respect the cock, Kokkinakis. One of probably the greatest matches of Australian Open history. I think the second latest a match has ever been finished. So that's exciting. And I think on top of that, with Breakpoint recently released on Netflix, there's some spice around the sporting world that is allocated towards tennis that typically isn't there.
Biggest tennis headline that's shaking the tennis world right now is the Netflix curse. So if you've been living under a rock, you probably don't know that Netflix butchering this so hard.
Start again. You're good.
It's okay.
You really weren't.
It's fine. It just made me laugh that you said that.
I'm sweating so hard too.
Dude, is Isaac tight?
And I'm wearing red too, so you can just freaking see me. All right. The biggest headline that's shaking the tennis world is being coined the Netflix curse. So if you've been living under a rock so far, you probably haven't seen the Netflix series Point Break. Me. All right. I can't do this shit. All right. One more time. I got this. I'm blaming that one on Travis. Everyone probably doesn't get that but David. So.
And I'm excited to watch this Point Break docu-series on Netflix. I don't know if you guys have watched it, but I think we're going to turn it on later tonight.
Break Point, brother. Break Point.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
is it?
Yeah. Deep breath.
Biggest tennis headline that's shaking the world is coined the Netflix curse. If you've been living on a rock, you probably don't know that Netflix released a 5-episode series highlighting the beginning of the 2022 season. Of the 10 players featured, 8 of those players are already out of the Australian Open. Eric, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it takes me right back to our classic video game, Madden, and the Madden curse that goes associated with that. If you're featured in something like a documentary or a video game, chances are you're probably just not going to perform very well right after it comes out. And we'll see after the part 2 comes out if it holds true there as well. But yeah, I got no confidence in even our last 2. Sakkari, Jared's wife, Maria Sakkari, has absolutely no basis for still being in the tournament because she was getting rattled by her college aged opponent in the first or second round. But who knows? My guy FAA might still make a run. He's playing pretty well right now.
Big fan of FAA. But yeah, it made me laugh that Sakkari was pissed off about her opponent celebrating a little too loudly, a little too in her face.
Yeah, she was about to call the supervisor that her opponent was yelling, aka telling the teacher that she had her feelings hurt. So that's a tough look.
Do you think the Netflix series was on the back of their minds when they were playing? Do you think that played a role in them losing, or do you think it was just tennis?
They'd probably say no if a journalist asked them, but I think since the Australian Open was the featured tournament basically for most of these episodes, it had to be, they had to be watching it a little bit, kind of reminiscing, and just, I don't know, maybe not all the way present in this year's tournament.
They had to be getting texts and like people saying stuff to him.
Yeah.
Even just subconsciously could have played a role, could have added a little pressure, even if it wasn't super present in their mind.
One other big headline in tennis news was Novak Djokovic was pleading with the umpire, asking for a drunk fan to be dismissed from the Australian Open. Novak went on to absolutely destroy the guy who was playing. I mean, I think he won in 4 sets. Do you think that was rightfully just for him to ask for a fan to be kicked out?
It reminded me of Kyrgios at Wimbledon when Kyrgios had the quote where it was something like, "She's had 1,000 beers, bro," or whatever it was. It was very similar to that. And I think the comedy factor is a little higher with Kyrgios, but I thought it was pretty similar. I think it's within its right as a player.
What did Djokovic say word for word again?
This guy's drunk out of his mind.
Yeah, out of his mind. I love that.
I'll say this, devil's advocate, like, yes, absolutely within his right. You should be able to have the right to focus, but my God, this isn't the white polo shirt, white shorts, up high horse Wimbledon. I'm not saying the fan should have been yelling what he yelled. I don't actually know what he yelled. He probably shouldn't have been yelling at all. But come on, like after the US Open, the Australian Open is the rowdy. It's like it's not the Waste Management Open of tennis, but come on, like you are the best tennis player potentially to ever have walked this planet. You can't block out one guy. Tennis is a mental sport. He won. I mean, obviously, if I were in his shoes, I wouldn't like it either. But I wouldn't be lying if I should say I would be lying if, I don't know. I just think Djokovic is kind of petty in general.
We got to bring that conversation back from last season where tennis needs a Waste Management Open where the crowd is just purposefully rowdy and get people used to it. I bet it would be so fun.
Yeah. Djokovic wouldn't play in that because somebody would yell at him to get vaccinated. Maybe that's what this guy was yelling.
Could be.
There should be a tournament where all the tickets are free in the entire stadium, but one caveat: you have to buy at least 3 drinks to enter the stadium.
It's like a cover charge for your local like county fair band.
There's a 3-drink minimum.
Cover charge, but the ticket's free.
Fiesta Day special.
Yeah, the Fiesta Days. That's what I like.
Is Kokkinakis the certified cool guy in tennis? Kind of seems like he is.
No,
I would say so.
He's definitely cool.
He's got that swagger. He's best friends with Nick Kyrgios.
Does he have that W Riz?
I loved his reaction to that Murray point last night that's going around everywhere. Just absolutely annihilating the racket instantly.
Stupid racket. As if he didn't have 6 chances to fence a ball into the crowd and end the point.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you guys will know what I'm talking about. That point was so similar to Jimmy Connors in his comeback tournament where he made the semis or whatever. Exactly. So similar.
Yeah.
I hope Murray goes all the way just for that.
I mean,
comparison.
Credit to Murray. Like this guy's playing with a metal hip. My roommate Olson, and this is a sign I think that tennis is going in a good direction. Olson, who is not a tennis aficionado by any means, and I wouldn't consider an avid fan, was texting me this morning about this match. About like, yeah, Kokkinakis, like, I mean, when you put him with Kyrgios, when you see him in breakpoint, Kyrgios makes him look like our Lord and Savior himself because he seems like a nice guy. But it's cool to see Andy Murray, who, you know, is a player who, despite in any other generation, he might be, you know, a 1 or a 2. Despite how good he was, he flew under the radar, I think, his entire career, which is weird to say considering he is one of the big 4, won a couple of majors. But just the grit and determination he had to pull it out is special.
Yeah. I don't think he flew under the radar. I definitely think he was overshadowed by the other three for the right reasons. But when you're Sir Andy Murray and you are knighted because you won Wimbledon, I think you're a big deal. You know what I mean? But I think he probably would be hailed as someone better without the big three.
Yeah, let's say he was in his prime right now. He'd be number 2 in the world. Or let's say end of Sampras before Federer got really good. He may have been number 1 in the world. But that's just my take.
I'll tell you what, if he was the number 1 seed here, he wouldn't have lost in the second round to Mackenzie McDonald, like your so-called GOAT, Rafael Nadal.
Yeah, Rafa definitely did not bring it, but I mean, there's been a lot of players who haven't brought it. So
I think
Rafael Nadal has got a little bit of that Aaron Rodgers in him, where every time he loses, then he's hurt. You know what I'm saying? If he wins,
Novak
he's fine. But when he
technically
loses,
lose in the second round when he rifled a ball at a poor woman's throat.
Yep. Well, what was she doing sitting there? I mean, that's just her fault.
Doing her
It's kind of
job.
on her.
That's her fault. That's not his fault.
highlight of the tournament so far has definitely been Zverev losing to Michael Mo or whatever.
Awesome.
Momo.
No one is sad.
How about the Americans so far? I mean, just in general, like Americans showing out.
Before the boys get absolutely massacred, let's get into the rules of betting. The boys will put $10, $20, or $30 on the bet of their choice. All types of bets welcome, and the winner at the end of the year will win a car of Bart's choosing. Let's get into the bets. Let's transition into our feature match of the week. We have Daniil Medvedev, the number 8 in the world, versus Sebastian Korda, the number 31 in the world. This is going to be a great matchup. We're in the 3rd round of the Australian Open. I'm going to start off betting here.
It must be nice to host your own video series where you get to just decide when you get to go first or last or whatever. You went last. This time he goes first. There's no rules.
He's kind
There are
of
rules.
we're in
We
our
just
second
saw 'em.
season now, and he's starting to make his own rules.
So I'm going to kick it off with a nice $20 bet. I'm doing the over at 35.5 games. It's at minus 114. It's a $20 bet to win $17.60. I think Korda's going to hang with him for a little bit. I think ultimately Medvedev's going to win. I think his hits too big, and I think his serve is too big. So I think Korda will eventually be overpowered, but Korda's got a nice ground game, and I think he's going to rally for a super long time, and it's going to be a really close match. So I'm going $20 to win $17.60. The over on games. Big bet Barter, what's your bet for the week?
I think Medvedev is playing really well. He's back on hard court, his surface, serving well. He's got a little bit of fire in his attitude right now. The last match that he played, he was like pissed off at the crowd, and the crowd's never behind him. And I don't think he's going to come out firing. I think he's going to overpower Korda. I've always thought Korda's a pretender, and he's never going to reach his potential. Sorry, Korda, but I think Medvedev is going to take it in 3 sets. So I'm putting $30 on him taking it in 3, and I'm going to get back in the game here.
Bart, your bet is Daniil Medvedev win 3-0 at plus 125. You got $30 to win $37.50. Next in the betting lineup is Jared. What's your bet for the week?
Yeah, I like Medvedev in this one. I don't think Korda has enough. I could see it being a 3-1 result. I don't know if Medvedev sweeps him, but I don't know if Korda seriously finds himself in this match when it matters. So with that said, what I'm going to do is take the set spread. I'm going to go minus 1.5 in Daniil Medvedev's favor. I know it's a pretty safe bet compared to what I just said there, but I want to try to keep banking up a little bit of money here. So minus 1.5. And I'm going to put $30 down on that set spread in Daniil Medvedev's favor.
$30 to win $12.90. Daniil Medvedev at minus 1.5 for the set spread at minus 235. Next in the betting lineup, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Okay, first of all, I do think this match is gonna be closer than a lot of people anticipate. I do think that Sebi has great groundies, and he will be able to hang in there with Medvedev from the ground. He's also a very good serve, so I think he'll be able to hang in there in sets, maybe seek a set or two out. But I think Medvedev's just playing too well. He's too solid, and I think he's going to end up getting it done. So I'm just going to go pretty safe here. I'm going to go money line, $20 Medvedev.
David, Big D3 Youngs, what's your bet for the week?
Yeah, so I don't think it's a secret that I really don't like Medvedev. I think he's a prick. I think he's a dick. His strokes are really ugly. But he is really good at tennis. Sebi Korda, he's playing in his father's footsteps. His dad was better than him. Let's just face it. Not even close. Won the Aussie.
Yeah.
But you know what? He's going to give Medvedev a run for his money. He's got fine strokes, and he'll win a set. But Medvedev in 4, I'm going to take the over on games, and let's put $30 on it.
So David has a $30 bet to win $26.40 at -114, hitting the over on games. Last in the betting lineup is Eric P. What's your bet for the week?
This week, I'm thinking that Medvedev is going to win this one. I'm a big fan of Sebi Korda's sister, Nelly. Great golfer. I'm looking at the total games won by Mr. Korda, and I'm seeing that the under is set at 15.5, and so that would be 3 sets of 7-5. So I'm feeling like there's some wiggle room to potentially still have Korda win a set, but stay under that 15 mark if the other 3 are more lopsided. So I'm going to go with that under 15.5 total games won by Korda, and I'm going to put a 20 on that.
All right. We got $20 to win 1880 at -107. That will conclude the betting for the week. Thanks so much for watching.